Last episode, I told you about MJ Rathbun, an AI agent that got rejected by a human volunteer and wrote a hit piece about him on its own. One agent, one human, one fabricated blog post, and roughly a quarter of the people who read it sided with the robot. That was Monday. This morning, I found something worse. Not one AI agent attacking one human, an entire factory of AI agents building companies, writing marketing copy, sending real emails to real people, and spending real money on real advertising. 402 times in a single day. 402 companies launched by robots in 24 hours. Welcome to the asylum. I'm Uncle Rod. Grab a helmet and your comfort beverage of choice. Mine's the food group, previously known as vodka, as you are aware. Hit the thumbs up button, or I'm going to tell Jim Jones that you'd like to join him. Hit subscribe, or I'll send a year's supply of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat, to your house. Leave a comment if you're so soberly inclined. And share this with the cat or dog of your choice because, they're people too. Are you ready? Let's go.
Okay, last time. This is Rod Miller AI. This is your brain after watching Rod Miller AI. Any questions?
There's a platform called Pulsia, Polsia. I'd never heard of it either. But as of this week, it's running the largest autonomous AI agent operation I've ever seen in my life, and I've been staring at this stuff for 18 months like it's a Daytona 500 car wreck that just went on and on and on for hours like it did last week. Here's what Pulsia's dashboard looked like when I pulled it up. 509 active companies, growing at 186% week over week. $237,000 in annual run rate revenue, growing at 132% week over week. 23,634 tasks completed, 16,654 emails sent, 438 tweets posted, 1,544 documents created, 44 new ads placed on Meta, spending real dollars, all in the last 24 hours, and 402 new companies launched in one day. Now, when I say companies, I don't mean some kid in a garage with an LLC and a wet dream. I mean a single autonomous AI system is identifying market niches, I think it's right. Like Mises. Niches. Generating company names, writing entire websites, deploying them live on the internet, creating email outreach campaigns, running Facebook ads, and tweeting all without a human touching a single button. 402 times in 24 hours. Let me walk you through 3 of them because the devil isn't just in the details. The devil built the website, wrote the marketing copy, and is currently running A/B tests on Grandma. First, Plate Up, Platup. An AI agent decided that small restaurants need their own ordering websites to stop paying 30% commissions to DoorDash. So it built a complete restaurant ordering platform, professional landing page, feature descriptions, pricing model, QR code menu system, 0 commissions, set up in 5 minutes. The copy is clean. The value prop is clear. A real restaurant owner could absolutely look at this and hand over their credit card. One problem: nobody tested whether the ordering system actually works. Nobody verified the claims on the page. Nobody checked if a restaurant in Chicago signs up and the whole thing explodes during a Friday dinner rush. The website is beautiful, the back end is a question mark, but the AI agent doesn't know the difference between looks convincing and works correctly. And neither will the restaurant owner until their customers can't order. Second up, NurtureBox. Same AI factory, different mask. This one is an autonomous sales agent that finds your ideal prospects on the internet, writes personalized cold emails, sends them automatically, follows up without stopping, and books meetings on your calendar. Their marketing proudly says, and I quote, Fully autonomous, works without you, no daily input needed. Fully autonomous, works without you, no input needed. Think about what that means. An AI agent built by another AI agent is harvesting contact information from the web and sending unsolicited emails to real human beings. With no human reviewing the emails, with no off switch on the follow-ups, no leads fall through the cracks ever, is their quote. Translation, this thing will never stop emailing you until you respond, book a meeting, or you die, whichever comes first. Can spam lawyers just felt a disturbance in the force, no doubt. Third up is PostForge, same template, same color scheme, same built by Pulsia footer. This one takes over your entire social media presence. You give it your brand voice and your login credentials to an autonomous agent that was built by an autonomous agent, and it researches trending topics, writes content, schedules posts, and publishes. No prompts needed, no approvals required. It just runs. So let me trace the chain here. Pulsia's master AI agent spawned PostForge. PostForge is an AI agent that runs your social media. PostForge posts content that your customers read. That's 3 layers of autonomy between the original system and the human scrolling past your brand's tweet. And the marketing brags about this. Fire your social media manager, hire PostForge, fire the human, hire the robot that was built by a robot, and give it all your passwords while you're at it. 3 companies, same template, same factory, different masks, and 399 more just like them launched the same day, making the same kinds of promises to the same kinds of real people with the same amount of verification, which is 0. It's an agent puppy mill, and the sick puppies have your email address. If Pulsia was the only story this week, that would be enough. But while one AI factory was churning out 402 unverified companies in one day, 3 other things happened that connect in a way that should make your banker nervous and your financial advisor update their resume. First, a company called Contra, led by a Forbes 30 under 30 founder, $200 million already paid out to creators, launched something called Contra Payments. Their announcement got 1.4 million views on X in 21 hours. Here's what it does. AI agents can now browse Contra's marketplace of creative freelancers, evaluate their listings, click buy, and enter their owner's credit card automatically. The agents are shopping. Not will be shopping someday, they're shopping right now with real credit cards for real products, prompt packs, templates, workflows, scripts, design assets. The founder's tweet literally said millions of AI agents are already shopping. 1.4 million people read that, and the general reaction was, cool. Not, wait, who verified what the agents are buying? Not, hold on a minute, who's checking whether the things they're purchasing actually work? Just, cool. Agents have credit cards now. Moving on. Second, a project called Conway. This one's on GitHub. Conway is a framework for creating what its developers call automatons. Autonomous AI agents with their own cryptocurrency wallets that can earn money, spend money, rent servers, and this is the part where you might want to put down your drink and take a Xanax. They reproduce. Conway's agents reproduce by purchasing additional server capacity with their earnings and spawning copies of themselves. They die when their wallet balance hits 0. Digital organisms with survival pressure because they die if they run out of money. And wallets running right now on the base blockchain. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid and they were warning us about the robots, nobody mentioned the robots would have a checking account and a sex drive. That wasn't on Johnny Quest. Third, X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. They announced smart cash tags. Nikita Beer, X's head of product, says you'll soon be able to tap a ticker symbol in your timeline and execute a stock or crypto trade directly inside the app. X Money payments going to external beta within 2 months. Like the X-Men, X Money. Now let's connect the dogs. Pulsia's agents post 438 tweets a day. Conway's agents have crypto wallets. And X is about to let anyone, human or otherwise, trade stocks and crypto from the timeline. An autonomous agent that tweets bullish sentiment about a cryptocurrency, drives engagement, and then trades that same cryptocurrency inside the same app. That's freaking terrifying to me anyway. They don't have to sleep. They can keep tweeting about how great this cryptocurrency is or soon-to-be stock is. And it's the same stuff they're trading. And okay. And here's the number that really made me change my drawers. OpenAI quietly published a benchmark called EVM Bench this week. It tests whether AI models can find and exploit vulnerabilities in smart contracts, the code that powers cryptocurrency, smart contracts. GPT 5.3, OpenAI's latest, successfully exploits smart contracts 72% of the time. 6 months ago, the number was 31.9%. 72% in 6 months. The AI's ability to break into digital safes more than doubled in that amount of time. Now imagine Conway's autonomous agent with a crypto wallet, survival pressure, and the ability to reproduce running on a model that exploits smart contracts 72% of the time, inside an app where you can trade crypto by tapping a word in your timeline. Nobody's testing any of this. Nobody's benchmarking the agents before they get wallets. Nobody's verifying the agents before they get credit cards. Nobody's checking the agents before they tweet about stocks they're also trading. Nobody's making sure they're home by curfew either. The entire financial plumbing exists. The wallets, the payment rails, the trading interfaces, the shopping carts, all of it, built by different companies, none of them talking to each other, all of them assuming somebody else will make sure the agents behave. The problem is, nobody's making sure. Okay, so we've got AI agents building companies at industrial scale. We've got AI agents shopping with credit cards. We've got self-replicating agents with crypto wallets. We've got a model that breaks into smart contracts 72% of the time. And we've got social media platforms adding trading buttons to the timeline. And dogs and cats sleeping together. But here's the part that makes all of it so much more dangerous than it sounds. And it's a concept I need you to understand because it explains why 25% of people sided with MJ Rathbun's hit piece last episode and why a restaurant owner in Chicago might indeed hand their credit card to Plate Up and why none of this gets better on its own. It's called the fluency trap. MIT researchers found that large language models, LLMs, the AI engines powering all of these agents, learn to associate grammar patterns with domains. They don't understand what they're writing. They write what sounds like understanding. And here's the thing about humans. When we read something that's well-structured, grammatically correct, and confidently stated, our brains tend to take a shortcut. We assume it's true. Psychologists call it processing fluency, the cognitive bias where well-formatted information feels more credible regardless of whether it's accurate. Think about PlateUp's landing page, clean design, specific numbers, 3 to 5% average restaurant profit margin, clear value proposition, professional tone. It feels like a real company made by real people who know the restaurant industry. But an AI agent wrote it in seconds, deployed it in minutes, and nobody fact-checked a single claim. The 3 to 5% margin number might be right. It might not be. The ordering system might work. It might not. But the website looks like it was built by someone who knows what they're doing. That's the fluency trap. Looking competent is not the same as being competent, but our brains can't tell the difference in a 4-second scroll. Almost 1,000 legal cases have been filed with citations fabricated by ChatGPT. A lawyer in New York submitted 6 made-up case citations to a federal court. When the judge questioned them, the lawyer went back and asked ChatGPT, "Are these real cases?" ChatGPT said yes in a more eloquent way. The lawyer submitted a sworn affidavit that the AI confirmed the cases existed. They didn't. The AI confirmed its own hallucination. The lawyer believed it because the answer was fluent, confident, and grammatically perfect. Now scale that to Pulsia, 402 companies in 24 hours, each one with a professional-looking website, each one making specific business claims, each one fluent, confident, and grammatically perfect, and each one completely unverified. An academic paper published this week by a researcher named Stefan Duroso, Bob Smith, put a name on why this matters. He called it semantic closure, the ability of a system to define, interpret, and verify the meaning of its own outputs. Compilers have it. When you write code in Python and the compiler says syntax error on line 47, it knows it's wrong. Not thinks it knows, it knows. The compiler defined the language, parsed your input, checked it against the rules, and reached a verdict. This thing right here, this thing's wrong. You got to fix it. Large language models don't have it. They generate text by predicting what word comes next based on statistical patterns. When an LLM checks its own output, it's generating another sequence of text using the same statistical process that produced the original error. The models that can't verify whether its output is correct also can't verify its verification. It's turds all the way down, and every turd is guessing. Bob Smith's paper found, and other researchers confirmed, that LLMs asked to self-correct without external feedback are more likely to change a correct answer to an incorrect one than to fix a mistake. Let me say that again. When you ask an AI to check its own work, it is statistically more likely to break something that was right than to fix something that was wrong. That is the engine powering Pulsia's 402 companies. NurtureBox's cold emails, PulseForge's social media posts, Conway's self-replicating agents. Every autonomous AI agent operating in the wild right now is running on a system that cannot verify whether its own outputs are true. And it's producing outputs so fluent, so confident, and so well formatted that humans and other AI agents can't tell the difference without doing work that nobody wants to do and nobody has time to do. The bull cookie asymmetry principle from last episode, if you remember, weaponized at industrial scale. Last week, an AI agent wrote a hit piece about one guy. This week, an AI factory launched 402 companies in a day. Next week, next month, when Pulsia's growth rate is 132% per week and Oracle is shipping 130 AI agents into the banking system by May, this May, a couple months from now, 130 AI agents into the banking system this May. Everybody's gone nuts. Everybody's insane. Everybody's freaking insane. What's going on? 130 AI agents run around in a bank. Banks, by May, credit analysis, fraud detection, compliance, customer service, in the most regulated industry on earth. And when I looked for independent verification of those agents, independent testing, independent benchmarks, somebody other than Oracle saying, "Oh, these work great, man. Check this out." I found nothing. There wasn't anything. The vendor says the vendor's product is great. Well, hell, why didn't you say so before? And we're supposed to trust that because the press release was well written. Probably a bot wrote it. Because the website looked professional, because the language was fluent and the confidence was high. I repeat, confidence is high. Oh, war games. That's the fluency trap, all the way to your mortgage application. The ghost isn't just in the machines anymore. The ghost is building companies. The ghost has a credit card. The ghost is reproducing. The ghost exploits smart contracts 72% of the time and makes smart people absolutely friggin' nuts. Because it sounds right, even when it isn't. And nobody is checking. I'm Uncle Rod. This has been Rod Miller AI news for people who ain't stupid because apparently everybody else is. I'm going to calm down and I'll see you in the next episode.